In this video, I'm gonna go over some beginner tips and tricks that'll hopefully help you start trapping more raccoons. You know, I've been doing it for a little while now, and a lot of people on YouTube and TikTok have left me some messages that have helped me out to help me catch more raccoons. So I'm gonna go over some of those today, like what traps to use, what baits you can use, how to look for raccoons, how to find like raccoon sign, and where to put your traps, and go over some of the mistakes that I've made, you know, in my learning process of trapping raccoons. So let's get into it. All right, first things first, let's start off with traps. This is a live trap. There's a lot of pros to these. If you're in a neighborhood or have pets or kids or whatever, this would probably be best for you. They're really simple. You just throw the bait in there, you know, they hit the foot pedal in there, and then the door slams, and you've caught them. But there is a few negatives to these. I feel like the raccoons really they learn it really fast, and they get, you know, trap shy, and they'll start coming around behind and, you know, reaching through the back and start pulling your bait out and whatnot. And these can break real easy. They get torn up. Raccoons are in there, or possums or whatever. They're struggling to get out. They can tear them up easy. That's what happened. This one, the door don't even close now. It's unfortunate. But if you're just catching a few raccoons at your house or in your neighborhood or whatever, in your yard, this one would be best for you. And then here's our next trap. This is my favorite trap. It's the dog proof trap. Basically kind of how it works, it's hence in the name dog proof. So there's a little lever inside of there. I'll pop a little thing on the side so you can see, but basically it's for like where dogs and like your cat could get in there and reach his little paw in there and pull it, but there's a lever inside that the raccoon or the possum actually has to grab and pull up. And when they pull up, that's what sets the trap off. See, he's trapped. He ain't going nowhere. But I like these because they're easy to use. The raccoons and possums, they don't get as shy to it. They don't really, you know, get too shy about going inside of it. With these live traps, you can tape around or put a box over it or whatever to make it more like a cave, and they'll want to go in there more, and that way they can't stick their little grubby hands through there and get them. But I like these. I've been setting them. This is what I've caught most of my raccoons on, and they're easy to set up. So I guess we're about to, you know, go over to where to put these out. But when you catch something with this, you gotta relocate it to heaven. You could release it, but their arm's kind of probably gonna be hurt. You might get lucky if it gets them high on the forearm. If it's your cat or something, it may not break it, it'll probably just pin it. But yeah, but with trapping, you want to check your traps every day. Make sure you're trapping them, or make sure you're checking your traps every day, because you don't want the animal to be in pain or whatever. So make sure you're doing that. Another little trick I use, I have a cell game camera. You can get them at Academy or whatever, but I put it up in front. If I'm only running a couple traps, I'll put those traps in line, and then I'll put the camera facing it, and I'll put it on video mode, so that way I get a picture or a video whenever that's happening. So that way I know, you know, I've caught a raccoon. That way I can go out, you know, I relocate it to heaven and get it over with, so it's not suffering or anything. All right, so I like to use just cheap cat food and peanut butter. Just pour the cat food down in here, and then I like using the peanut butter because it gets wrapped around that little lever in there. That's when they grab it, and that's when their little paws get stuck. So let's go set this thing up. All right, so when you're looking for places to set your raccoon traps where they might be hiding, you want to look for like old barns, big brush piles, source of food, you know, dumpsters, garbage cans, whatever. If not, you know, over here is where I have my main issue. This is our duck hole, and then we have a creek that runs over there through our property. And creeks, raccoons love creeks. They love big old trees on creeks. They love everything about creeks. They love water. They like getting in there and getting them little mussels and stuff. So this is where I'm going to set up. I know there's raccoons in here. Also go around looking for tracks and other signs of raccoons, you know, dung or poo, whatever. But as long as you're seeing tracks, you got water and you got food and you got structure, you know, a lot of thick cover and woods, big woods and big brush piles for them to get into, I bet you'll catch you a raccoon. So I'm going to put this one out over here, show you how to set it up, and we'll get her put out, and maybe we'll catch something. All right, so first things first, got my dog proof. Got it hooked on this tree, got a carabiner around it. You can throw some brush on it or whatever to hide it more, but you want a big enough tree that they're not going to be able to pull over, but also has a lot of limbs, so they can't pull that cord around it and be able to get out, you know, if you're going to do that way. Or you can, you know, hammer it and stake it into the ground. Make sure you get it deep so they can't pull out either. So now we're going to set this bad boy. All right, so they have this little dog proof setter tool you can use. You can also use your hands if you're not a weakling like me, but I use my hands. So get this tool, put this through there, put it down, but put it behind the little bar, and you push down, and then you have a little catch here. right? Put that lever behind that catch, and boom, you're ready to go. It's set. Now we're ready to bait and stamp it in the ground. All right, so now we're gonna get it. We're gonna press it in the ground nice and good. Look, there's a little cicada thing. And now we're ready to put our peanut butter and stuff in there. So we got our peanut butter. Don't judge me, I'm using a spork and I'm getting peanut butter all over my hands. And then we can get her and put some in there around that. You know, you don't want to set it off, but try and get it all up in there. Get it around that little lever in there. Get it all peanut buttered up. Now you can get your Meow Mix or whatever. Sorry, Kraken, that's my cat that I took this from. And pour a little in there. You know, and then put a little on the outside and get them baited up. This is the biggest mistake I made when I started trapping. So I put a little bait on the edge of that hole there. When I first started trapping, I would just dump like a whole bag of corn. And then by the time the raccoons found it, they'd eat off all the corn. They wouldn't be hungry. They wouldn't even touch my bait. Okay, I had like cat food and mackerel in there. Wouldn't even touch it. By that time, you know, by the time they ate up all the corn and stuff over the week or a couple weeks, you know, they had noticed it was trapped. They didn't want it. They wanted no part of it. And then, you know, I wouldn't catch nothing. And I'd ask people, and they'd be like, you need to get rid of the corn. So that's what I did. I got rid of the corn. And it's like every couple days I was catching raccoons. So you want a little bait, not too much bait. And if you catch them, you gotta, or they'll get smart and they won't come to the traps no more. And they'll, I swear they'll start teaching each other. But for other baits you can use some, you know, some raccoon scent or some raccoon berry mix, whatever. You can get it from my Bass Pro Academy. But I just, you know, it seems like dog food and peanut butter does pretty well. And marshmallows, if you want to put those on top, that way they can see it. But yeah, I've put out a few more along this trail, you know, to increase our odds. So hopefully we'll catch us a raccoon. So hopefully when I come back, we'll have us a catch, because it's about to rain, as you can tell. And I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks to you guys for getting me set up with the right bait. I'm about to take one less turkey killer off the streets, and we finally caught a raccoon. Here he is. He's a pretty good fella, but it's time for me to take him out behind the woodshed. He's actually a pretty good sized raccoon. He's a good one. We just have too many raccoons. It's time to take a few out. It's unfortunate, but it's what's gotta be done.